Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Today, I am having a little bit of a dive into one of the places on the internet that I hate more than anywhere else, and that is the r/nice guys subreddit, because I realized it had been a really long time since I've had a look in here, and I'm sure that there have been a hell of a lot of nice guys that have been saying stuff since the last time I ventured in here. So I thought today that I would torture myself and all of you along with me. So you are so welcome. This initially was going to be my short fun video of the week, but I could not stop scrolling because as horrible of a place as the r/nice guys subreddit is, it's also like kind of addicting. Like you cannot stop scrolling. This is not the short fun video of the week. This is another just like full length ranting, rambling, angry video. So you're welcome. Before we do get into it though, I would love to take a moment to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, Aura. On the topic of terrible and terrifying places on the internet and how awful of a place the internet can be, are you aware of how much of your data is being stored and sold to data brokers? It's quite staggering. I have here an 11-page document of all of the information that is being stored by a data broker for just one individual. It includes things such as like their full name, date of birth, address, their relatives, where their relatives live, all of their social media handles, their relatives' social media handles. It truly is like so terrifying to see how much information these data brokers have access to and how much of that comes from just you using the internet. How much of that comes from you using like apps and websites where you just go, yeah, I accept cookies. Yeah, I take my information. It's okay. I won't read those terms and conditions. I won't really think about it. I want to use the website. I want to have access to this information, to this app. I need it. And you don't really realize how much you are actually consenting to giving away. And not only the fact that they now have access to that, but the fact that it is being stored and sold to anyone who is willing to pay money for it. And that is where today's sponsor, Aura, is so helpful and such a good tool to use for safety and security for your online browsing. Aura offers a very simple solution to this problem in which it will scan all the places in which you have allowed your data to be stored and stolen, and it will automatically opt you out. It does this with just one click. It goes through and automatically opts you out of all of it without you having to think about it twice. And once you are opted out, legally, they have to actively withdraw your information from being stored and sold. There are other services that do this as well, but none of them offer the range that Aura does for the price that Aura is. Because not only does Aura opt you out of having all of your data sold and stored, but also it will send you an alert if any of your information is found on the dark web. It offers a military-grade VPN service. It has 24/7 monitoring to keep your identity safe, and it has real-time alerts for any fraud that is happening within any of your bank accounts or anything. So you are being well kept in the loop of where all of your data is at all times, and it is just keeping you as safe as you can be online. Recently, I had my card number stolen. I got a bunch of like reports from my bank being like, someone tried to make a purchase, and then I had to, cancel my bank card. Never very fun, right? Sucks. And Aura is a tool that can prevent that from happening and keeping all of that nice and safe and for no one else to have access to. And if you are interested in trying Aura for yourself, then you can use my link aura.com/kiwi or the link in the description, and you will get 2 weeks completely free. I am not leaving myself vulnerable online, and you should not either. So please do go check that out. And thank you so much, Aura, for sponsoring today's video. Let's get into it. So this is a conversation between a man and a woman who are on a dating app, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what messaging apps look like. I'm going to assume a dating app. And he says, "You got kids in your future, you think?" Unfortunately not. Baby oven went kaput years ago, and PCOS is pretty bad. Just not in the stars for me. Wait, so you're gonna deprive good guys like me the chance to be a father? My brother in Christ, we've only been talking for a couple of weeks. It's not exactly my fault my ute doesn't work. You don't think I feel like shit about it as it is? You're not a woman at all, are you? Just a walking sack of nothing designed to ruin a good man's life. What good are you if you can't have babies? Wish I'd known that before I started to like you. Fuck. Charming as always. I'm open and honest with you, but that's apparently not good enough. No, you want to see if you can get your dick in far enough before we even meet. I'm afraid with that attitude, the only thing you'll be sticking it in is an extra small glory hole. Aw, poor baby girlie got her feelings hurt because the truth is too painful to bear. Boo-hoo. I hated reading that. Sounds like you won't be wanting a baby since you already are one. Run home to your mommy, it's past your bedtime. At least I can have babies. A nice guy like you, I'm sure the ladies are all over it. I'm the nicest guy anyone ever met, but I know my worth, and you're only half a woman, so you can't afford me. Just making it clear. I love. I'm the nicest guy anyone ever met, but you're only half a woman. Like, even if you got rid of all the previous bullshit he'd said and just kept that bit, the fact he, contradicted himself within 2 words is wild. The fact you can say, I'm a nice guy, not just a nice guy, I'm the nicest guy, in the same sentence as calling someone half a woman because they are infertile. What plane of existence do you live on? What is the definition of nice? I'm just incredibly curious about what you believe the word nice means. Like, truly, when these men say these things and act in these ways, what do they think nice means? Do they have a different dictionary than I do? Like, are they going and asking ChatGPT what nice means? And, they've trained trained ChatGPT to just say exactly what they want to hear. So ChatGPT just replies, nice means you hate women. Yeah, okay. Wow. Someone tells you they're infertile. I don't think the first thing you should do is to somehow make that about you. Especially not, telling them that means they aren't a woman. Dehumanizing someone to that degree, that quickly, baffling. Oh my god. How are you out here thinking that people are gonna like you? How are you out here thinking that, dates are ever gonna be successful and you're ever going to be in a happy relationship? You're not. No? Oh my god. Imagine calling someone a walking sack of nothing designed to ruin a good man's life because you can't have babies, and then calling yourself a good guy. The male loneliness epidemic, they say. It's a problem, they say. Women don't love us because they have such high standards. The standard being, treat me like a person is apparently too high. I need to lower my expectations. I need to lower my standards. Me wanting a man to view me as a person and not just a baby making machine, that's asking for too much, apparently. Moving on. This is Patrick Starr with his face with his eyes uneven and he's drooling. It's like that the face, And it says, go ahead and leave me. That's what everyone does anyway. Oh, this one riles me up. There are certain things that give me very visceral reactions, and this is one of them because this is something that I was told all the time, and nothing pisses me off quite like me hearing shit that I was told because I know how it feels and it pisses me the fuck off. This, as an abuse tactic, is so slimy. It's such a blamey thing. It's such a guilt trip. They will take you being upset with them and make themselves the victim, and it fucking works. That's the worst part, is that a lot of the time it fucking works. I think in these instances, I know it's hard to do, but we really need to just start being bet, and then just walk the fuck away. If someone says this to you, then just walk away. Quite literally, quite honestly, one strike, you're fucking out. Don't say this to someone. Don't say it to someone, all right? If you are in a state of distress and this is how you are feeling, you don't express that because it's manipulative, all right? I understand feeling like everyone is going to leave because you have like abandonment issues and whatnot. I get it. However, you don't say this. This is what pushes people away. This is a manipulative thing. Don't say it. And if someone says it to you, do leave. Yeah, or be like, yeah, okay, you are right. And you are the problem. Goodbye. And then you leave because you don't need that bullshit. No, we're not in here with manipulating people, thank you. This is a text conversation. Hey, you looked gorgeous in class today, especially your massive tits. It's charming. What a lovely start to this conversation, isn't it? Oi, bitch, I gave you a compliment. What are we doing? like truly, like what are we doing? What's the point in anything? Right? Like, I just think we need to just stop civilization, humanity. Like, we're done now. We don't need to do this anymore. In what world is that a compliment? Can you send me nudes? But I fucking Jesus Christ. I know this is a teenager. It's not an excuse, by the way. This is not an okay thing for a teenager to be saying. Why? Like, these are teenagers. And like, I know that they know they're not supposed to be talking like this. I know that it's easy to read this and be like, God, teenagers. And like, yes, but also like, no. No. Oh my God. Which she said, by the way. She then said no, which leads to the best part of this conversation, by the way. This is, if you don't, I will kill myself. And it will be your fault. Do it, cunt. I'd stand up, but I'd knock my shit over. That's... That is the best way to respond. That goes really well with what I just said before, right? Someone's like, fine, leave me. Everyone else says, okay, bye, goodbye. Send nudes or I'll kill myself and it'll be your fault. All right. Go on then. Bet. They're not gonna fucking do it. They're not gonna fucking do that. No one's killing themselves over not being sent nudes. Are you fucking kidding? And even if they did, which they are absolutely not going to do, still wouldn't be your fault. It's still going to be their fault. If anyone is actively saying they are going to kill themselves because you aren't doing something that they want you to do, if they then do that, that's not your fault. You are not responsible for that at all. The point is, if they did end up doing it, they want you to live with that guilt forever, and that's their punishment for you. But the entire purpose is specifically just to hurt you. That's literally the whole point. The entire purpose is to hurt you, and it is never, ever, ever your fault. And also, he's not going to fucking do that. He's not going to do it. That's just not a thing that's going to happen. 99 times out of 100, they're not actually going to kill themselves if you say no or you don't do what they're going to do, or like, you know, it's just not what's going to happen. Apparently after this though, because obviously this was at school, they had a few days later, they had an assembly that was about sexual harassment, and they asked for any volunteers to like speak and share any experiences. And she got up and put this like on the projector for the whole school to see, and talked about how you shouldn't manipulate people and how this is manipulative and not okay. And now their parents are having a meeting at the school and she gets 4 days off. So I'm hoping the 4 days off is not suspension and is rather like you get 4 days off to look after your mental health thing. But good for her. I love that she stood up and was like, I'm putting your ass on fucking blast. Let's fucking go. Iconic. As she should. I love that. Lol, see you at 7:30. And then at 7:08, he said, I'm here, let me know when you pull up. I can leave now, but damn, you're Ellie. See you in 7 minutes. Whatever you want, I'm chillin', lol. Guess I can't wait to see you. Cute, smiley face. LMFAO. And then like 3.5 hours later, so seemingly after this date ended, he texted, hey, come by. Question mark. Do you want to come by my house? OMG, no, we just met. I'm not trying to fuck. I'm saying come chill, have a drink. Listen, your pictures don't do justice. You're 30 pounds heavier. Get fucked. I didn't want you to come over for me. It was for somebody else that likes fat chicks. Their ego is so fragile. It's astounding. You say no one time and then don't reply for like 2 minutes, and suddenly they're like fat shaming you, calling you ugly, calling you a bitch, like whatever. It's like, bro, what? How did we get here? Why is this where you ended up? You matched on a dating app. you like went out on a date and then you asked her over, and then because she said no, you're suddenly like, well, it wasn't even, I don't even like you. I don't even like, you're fat anyway. You're fatter in person than you are in your photos. I had a friend and I was inviting you over because my friend wanted to fuck you, not me. So that makes anything any different. Why are you, why would that be believable at all? Like, you go on a date, it goes well, you text asking to come over, and then when they say no, you go, well, I actually, like, I didn't even like you. I have a friend over and he likes you. I'm confused. So why do you think that's believable? And why that was a story that you came up with. Just take the no, bro. You're like shooting yourself in the foot. Once again, like male loneliness epidemic. This could have been successful. You could have ended up in a relationship further down the line. If you'd have said, do you want to come over? And she said, no, you're like, okay, cool. Another time. Then maybe it would have worked out. But instead, you're an idiot and an asshole who had to lie and then fat shame her. But, you know, showing your colors early on, I guess, is always nice because Jesus Christ. So this is a text between two people, and presumably he asked if she wanted to go to his place or if they wanted to go out for dinner. And she was saying that she'd like to go out for the following reasons. If you don't want Japanese, we could also go to a Thai restaurant or even a seafood or traditional American spot. It's just way easier if I can know the menu ahead of time and make sure I can find something safe to eat. I've also been stuck at home for the past month working on some big painting projects, so I'd love to dress up a bit and go out on the town a little bit. So let me know if there are any restaurants you specifically might want, but if you haven't ever been to Momiji, I would definitely recommend, since it's literally my favorite restaurant in Seattle. And before we even move into it, I'm gonna say, like, I totally relate to this, but it's also really unfortunate how much explanation has to go into the reasoning for wanting to go out and not go to their place. Like, you should just be able to say, like, I'd love to go to a restaurant, here's the places where I'm going. Like, you shouldn't have to, like, justify a bunch of reasons. But apparently that still wasn't even enough, because he responded with, are you afraid to come to my home? Do you think I'm going to rape you? Wait, what? Whoa. Whoa. That's out of the left field. Honestly, I just love going out and haven't been out of the house in ages. Plus, I do have some serious allergies, like I said, and hate making people cook for me. Is there a reason why you are strongly opposed to going out to dinner? Of course I would plan on paying for myself if that's the issue. I invite you into my home, the highest honor, and you grow rape fantasies inside your head. Then you talk about money and insult me. I don't think I am any longer interested to meet you ever again. What? Oh my god. I don't think she was the one making rape fantasies there, my guy. You're the one who jumped straight there. Firstly though, a valid fear for someone to have. I think in general, if you're going out on a date with a guy and he doesn't respect the fact that you as a woman are like worried to go back home with him, he is not the guy for you anyway. Like, good men understand why we're wary and they respect that, and they wouldn't ask to meet in a private location, right? You can go back to their place after the date. Sure, you're not gonna meet in a private place. And if they don't like that, red flag. Like, yeah, if now, after this conversation, now I do think you were planning that, actually. Because now she's like, I don't want to meet at your house. I want to go out for dinner. You're like, okay, well, if you don't want to meet at my house, then sorry, I don't have any interest in you anymore. Why was it so necessary that you meet at your house? Though. Being like, why are you so opposed to meeting out? I was gonna pay for myself. Stop. No. Don't keep trying. As soon as he's like, are you afraid I'm gonna rape you? Block. Hard block. Yes, I am. I wasn't. Now I am. No. They wonder why their relationships aren't successful. It's because they don't listen, they don't care, and then they blame all of their problem on women. Because why wouldn't they? This is a message on Grindr, I believe. It looks like Grindr. And he said, nice perky little titties at 5:05 a.m. And then at 5:15 a.m. said, hey bitch, I gave you a compliment. Just a note here. You sent this at 5 o'clock in the morning and then waited 10 minutes. I mean, you didn't get a reply at 5:15 in the morning. Well, like, fuck you for ignoring me. Did you consider maybe, I don't know, that they're sleeping? Did you consider that perhaps they are currently asleep and not on their phone? Even if it's not 5 o'clock in the morning, consider the fact that people aren't checking Grindr 24/7. They maybe go and look at it after work or like on their lunch break or whatever. Like, no, they're not just on hand waiting for someone to message them. And also still like, what a message. Like, that's not going to get a response half the time. I don't know how Grindr works. I like hookup culture is like obviously slightly different depending on what you want or whatever. Maybe some people will reply. I don't know, but don't expect to reply. And also not within 10 minutes. Oh my God, the audacity. Jesus Christ, they're certainly not going to reply to you now. So, you know, any chances you had, they're gone. I'm gonna take a nap so I'm not too tired later. Message you soonish. Okay, you're not gonna need a whole lot of energy. It's not like we're going to be jumping each other's bones, lol. I'm gonna need a nap so I'm not so tired that I'm stupid, lol. I didn't get more than half an hour of sleep. I see. Well, the more tired you are, the lower your inhibitions are. Not that low, ever. Try not to joke yourself out of the date, lol. I'm a perverted joker. Just who I am. If that bothers you and you don't want to meet me, then that up to you, and I'll just have to understand and live with it. I am who I am, lol. So you're not willing to hold off on that until I'm comfortable with you? Because can tell dirty joke and flirt with the best of them, but not before I'm ready. So if you lack the self-control and respect for me to hold off for a little while, then maybe we shouldn't do this. Look, I'm a hell of a nice guy. Yeah, I believe you. Sure you are. I have a perverted mind. Any guy who says, I'm a nice guy, I have a perverted mind, you've automatically red flag. Straight red flag. Honestly, in general, if one of the first things you say to a woman is, I have a perverted mind, I'm out. I'm leaving, because what you've essentially just said to me is that you are going to sexualize me. Like, it's fine to enjoy a dirty joke or whatever. That's chill, but like saying to my face is one of the first things you ever say, essentially being like, I am going to make a lot of sexual jokes directed at you and at your expense. Why would I stick around? Just, you know, food for thought. I'm just being who I am because there's no better way to get comfortable with someone than to 1 out of 4, now, who they really are and whether you can accept that or not. You say you can joke with the best of them, so relax, cut loose, be who you really are. 2 out of 4. Don't hide anything about yourself. If people don't like you or accept you for who you are, then why would you want to bother with them? That's just my 3 out of 4, nyan, and how I see things. All I'm saying is don't try to be someone you're not, just so you can fit into someone's idea of a perfect little box. Be yourself, and if people don't lick 1 out of 2, you, for who you are, then fuck them. You don't need them. Now, before we carry on to what she said, because she's probably about to say exactly what I'm about to say, let's be real, that's what always happens. When they take, like, therapy speech and, like, weaponize it, ooh, bro, fuck off. Like, yes, this is all very good sentiment. This is all stuff that I say. This is all stuff that they have heard people say. Absolutely. And so now they are taking words of acceptance that they hear from other people about acceptance and using it to try to justify being a shitty person. That's not where this applies. That's not how this works. Like, it's like, well, if you don't like me being inappropriate and making you uncomfortable, then you aren't worth my time. It's like, there is a difference between being who you are and being respectful. You can be both of those things. You can, like she's already said, hold off until she is comfortable, and then you can joke about these things. You can be yourself and also like be reserved. You know what I mean? Like, you can share the things that you're interested in. You can have jokes. You can like talk about things and also respect boundaries. Both of those things are possible. She's not telling you to change who you are. She is telling you to be respectful and understand boundaries. This like part of being who you are, like if you are telling like dirty jokes and sexualizing someone without their consent, if you do not know how to exist without doing that constantly, you have a lot of work to do on yourself, my guy. Because you should be able to have humor that isn't just revolved around sexualizing people, and you should be able to understand that not everyone is comfortable about that. There surely are other parts of yourself. Surely that's not everything that you are, right? Anyway, she says, I'm betting who I am. I need an emotional bond with someone before I want to joke and about sex or discuss intimacy. I have no interest in it with you yet. And you can be yourself without ignoring the needs of others. It's called tact. A hell of a nice guy would respect the feelings of the woman he's trying to date. I'm not asking you to change who you are. I'm asking you for patience. Fair ask. This isn't even over, by the way. He carries on. Okay then, maybe this wasn't a good idea because I wasn't even being that rude and you seem to be taking it pretty personal. I'm a biker and I'm a nice guy. I like to joke and have fun and we're both adults. It's nothing either one of us hasn't heard before. I think you're being a little too sensitive. If you can accept the way I am, then good luck because there are plenty of women out there that like a guy with a dirty sense of humor that isn't afraid to say what's on his mind. Okay, bye. Just another prude. Just another self-centered ass who can't shut up about sex long enough to get it. What a good last line, actually. That fucking goes hard. Yeah, that sums it up really nicely, I think. It's so ridiculous. Like, also, I love this whole conversation and him being like, you can't take a joke. You can't have, like, talk about sex jokes. The joke was, like, being like, oh, your inhibitions will be low. You were, like, it was like a rape joke. It wasn't even, like, a dirty joke. It wasn't even, like, a dirty message. It wasn't anything, like, suggestive. It was a rape joke. That's never okay. That's never funny. Oh, if you're tired and your inhibitions are low, like wink, wink, that's not consent, bro. It's not consent. It's like being like, oh, well, if you drink enough, like that's not funny. That's not a joke. Honestly, like no one is going to appreciate that because it's not funny. It's not silly. It's not sexy. It's not a dirty little joke. It's just very inappropriate and concerning behavior. Don't say that. There's a difference between being flirty and being creepy and a rapist. So, you know, I think that if you're making jokes about that in that way before you even meet, I'm not going out with you. I'm not talking to you because now you've literally made a joke about raping me. So, like, why would I go out with you? And then you're like, plenty of girls appreciate a guy with a sense of humor. No, not like that. Yeah, girls like funny guys. Absolutely. We can appreciate little silly flirty jokes and things here and there, or when it's like at a time in a relationship where it's appropriate. Absolutely. We're not appreciating that though. The only people who are going to laugh at that joke are other creepy men. Yeah. And then you're going to laugh together and complain and be like, it's so funny. Women are the problem. They don't have a sense of humor. When we're telling you over and over that that's not funny and you need to change the joke and not joke about that, somehow it's women's fault. Male loneliness epidemic. Why won't women date me? Why won't women sleep with me? Maybe because you're joking about raping us on the first date? Maybe? I don't know. Just think about that, I think. That's probably a good thing to consider and maybe not do. Here is another conversation that happened in DMs of some sort. He says, come over. I'd prefer to be murdered. How about taxidermied? I promise to put you in a seductive pose, eye roll emoji. Or, better idea, I'll sell you to the Clinton Foundation. Lol, I love imagining I'm some sort of bad guy. Do you see any gym pics? Any fish pics? Pics at a wedding? Lol, your judgment on character is so off that you'd end up in your own worst case scenario by your own doing. Incredible. Round of applause for moving women back a peg. Lol. She just says, notice how I only said a few words, joking by the way, and you responded with a novel? Round of applause for nice guys, eh? Might want to learn how to regulate emotions, my guy. Yeah, also like, bro, going like straight away being like, how about taxidermied? I'll put you in a seductive pose. How about I'll sell you to the Clinton Foundation? Like, you could just stop, right? Like, you were obviously rejected. You could just walk away. It's just going into it being so specific. And I know she's like, I was joking about saying I'd rather be murdered. And so then he could pull around being like, I'm only joking. Your joking is like very specific. Like that was on your brain. And that's concerning. That's concerning. Note how she didn't like specifically say I would rather insert like weird fantasy that's like oddly specific where you did do that. Like that's creepy. That's creepy. Yeah, you don't know how to regulate your emotions, and you clearly have some fucked up shit going on in your head that needs to be worked through, or your dating life is not going to be successful because what the fuck? This is on WhatsApp. They seem to have sent him a photo of themselves and said 10 seconds. And he said, better, you're most definitely cute. I think you're attractive. If you lost weight, you'd be super attractive. I think that could be said about me too, though. I'm brutally honest, by the way, so I hope I don't offend you. And she was like, wow, At least you show you're a piece of shit early on. My thoughts exactly. Bro, like, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, truly, how do they not have any idea at all of how to communicate and just be like a respectful person? What did you think was the result of this gonna be? How did you possibly think this was gonna go? Why does it need to be spelled out to you to not fucking say shit like that? Why can't you just be like, wow, you're cute? End of. Or if you aren't interested, you could be like, I don't think you're my type, and then move away. You don't have to say anything else. Even if they're not your type because, you know, they are a larger frame for your type. Like if you are specifically attracted to a specific body type or whatever, which I think is ridiculous in itself, but whatever. If that's the case, even then, you don't have to be like, oh, you're not my type because this. I think you'd be attractive if this. Because no one owes you attractiveness. They're not going to change who they are and what they look like for you. If it's not going to work and you aren't attracted to them, then you move on and you find someone who you are attracted to. And you don't make your lack of attraction to them their problem. Yeah? If you aren't attracted to them, you move on. If you are attracted to them, you proceed. None of this other bullshit in the middle. You can't tell someone that you think they need to change so they can be attractive to you. You are not entitled to that. You either like them or you fucking don't, bro. If that's so important to you and that like outweighs everything else, then like fuck off. If that's like of low importance and like you like their personality and you think they're cute enough or whatever, then carry on the conversation and fucking leave that shit at the door. If that's a deal breaker for you, you can carry on without telling them that because it doesn't impact them, because they'll find someone who is into them the way that they are, because no one has to change for you. You shouldn't change to be attractive for a specific person. Everyone is attracted to different things. If I change myself to look a certain way because that's what this specific person said, then I will change myself and then that person will find me attractive. But this person over here, they'll now find me less attractive. And that person over there, they were attracted to me before and now they aren't anymore. Like you, no matter at what stage you are someone's type. Always. You are always going to be someone's type. And every time you change, that someone might be the same, that someone might change. People, now you're going to be less on these people's radar or more on these people's radar. It is the least important thing ever, by the way. I'm not saying this because like you're only valid if people are attracted to you. It's not about more people are attracted to you when you look like this or more blah, 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 blah. That's not important. The point is, your idea of attraction is different to everyone else's and you are not the main character. People are not going to change themselves to fit what you find attractive because you are not the only person in the world that is available for them to date. So they are going to stay who they are and what makes them happy and go find someone who is attracted to them for who they are right now and that they do not have to change for. No one owes you change. You, though, should change your personality because you gotta work on it because you're not doing a very good job. And this is why so many of these men end up lonely. So many of these men sit around and complain that women don't like them, but they're all really nice guys. And it's like, you are all doing this to yourselves. Like, this is brought upon you by yourself. If you just like listen to women, have a conversation and just like respectful, it's really easy. The bar is literally on the fucking ground. Just literally treat us like people. Take an interest in us, and that's like you've already like exceeded our expectations. Like the bar is that low. And yet you still act as though we are asking too much of you. It's astounding. It's fucking astounding. Yeah. Anyway, this has been r/nice guys. I hope that you had a great time. I had a terrible time, but I got some good anger off my shoulders, so you know. If you did enjoy this video, please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I am trying to hit 500k subscribers by the end of the year, so it really does help me out. I really do appreciate it. A huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons: Polar Bee, Sienna, Alicia, Mirielle, Bree, Bay the Trucker, Chastity, Beckett, Prismatic Petey, Sushi Kawaii, Phil the Duck, Jessie, River, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Mr. Noodle, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Chris, Ellie, Alexis, and Bobby. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes.